Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of No Questions Left Behind. I'm Sam.
And I'm Stevie.
And we're here to answer most of the questions that we didn't get to during the YouTube Live this week on all things protection. So you guys asked a ton of awesome questions, as you always do.
Yep.
I think this was one of our higher engagement rates, so
Yep.
Thank you all for all of your awesome engagement. We appreciate it. It's always great to see how knowledgeable you all are, and hopefully all of the information and things that you get from us in the form of learning in these lives and follow-up, no question left behind. So we're going to try to not leave any behind, but we do have a pretty big list of 6 pages of questions. So we'll do our best to get through as many of these as we can before we get started. We will be doing another giveaway at the end of the No Questions Left Behind today. That will be your choice of the 2 kits that we offered during the YouTube Live. So the Premium Carnauba Paste Wax Kit and the Ceramic 3-in-1 Wax and Refill Kit. Both awesome kits. You can pick your poison, whether you prefer the ceramic or the Carnauba of those 2 product options.
Yeah, so we will announce the winner at the end, so definitely stick around to see if you were selected. But in the meantime, we also have a sale running right now, so you can use code SMPolish to get $50 off a polisher.
Yep, SM Polish, up to $50 off, depending on which polisher you're looking at. They'll have slightly different discounts, but up to $50. Pretty great savings, so like Nick said during the live, if you've been holding out and waiting for a reason to pick up one of our polishers, now is a great time to do so. Get some savings in there as well. And yeah, get started and ready for the spring and summer months. Weather around here is great. It's a balmy 76 degrees outside, which is very unusual for April in Washington. So we're all quite happy up here lately. So make sure if you haven't already, get down below, give us a subscribe, hit the like button, and of course the notification bell so you don't miss any future YouTube content, as well as follow us on Facebook and Instagram if you don't already. We have some really exciting stuff coming up in May and June, and you'll be the first to know if you follow us on those social media platforms and are subscribed to our YouTube channel. We tend to give you guys sneak peeks and kind of more information or previews into some of our new products and sales through our social media and YouTube. So if you're subscribed to all 3 of those, you are sure to be the first to know when we're launching something new or running a sweet sale or promotion. So got some sweet stuff to come, but without further ado, we will get into your questions from the YouTube Live on protection. So we're going to focus on the questions that focus on protection. If you asked a question that was too far off topic, we may not get to it. I apologize for that. Keep asking, and we will definitely get to it eventually. So to start it off, Tim Clark asked, is a wool pad the most aggressive? Wool and microfiber tend to be the most aggressive options. Microfiber will produce a little more temperature, a little higher temperature, so that tends to be the most aggressive on a random orbital, with wool being very close behind it, but wool will tend to operate at a slightly cooler temperature on a random orbital, so keep that in mind. But both of those fiber pads can be used with products like the Ceramic All-in-One to remove defects and apply protection all in the same step.
Yeah, it's just important to remember the surface that you're working on and definitely do your test section. Make sure that you're not seeing any haze left behind, because with an all-in-one, you're not following with the less aggressive polishing step. Therefore, if that pad is too aggressive for the surface and you're leaving some pretty bad hazing or micro-marring, then you probably don't want to use that on the entire vehicle.
Yeah, and a great follow-up question to that, Sung asked, if you use a more aggressive pad with the Ceramic All-in-One, isn't that taking away a lot more protection? How does that protect the car? With more aggressive pads, shouldn't you do a 2-step correction? That's an awesome question, Sung. I think he was one of our giveaway winners during the live because of the great questions he was asking. So there's some intricacies to this answer. But it all essentially depends on what your end goal is. All-in-ones, can be used as a truly all-in-one where it's a single step, or they can also be used as a last step product in a two-step scenario so that you don't have to do 2 steps of polishing or defect removal and then apply protection as a third step. So a couple different ways to skin it here, but you are kind of going down the right road with your thought process in that if you do have really heavy defects to where you're going to want to use a microfiber pad or a wool pad with ceramic all-in-one, you might actually be better off doing a 2-step correction. Use your fiber or wool pad and say our fast correcting cream, and then follow that with ceramic all-in-one on like an orange or yellow foam pad to get that final finish. A 2-step method like that is always going to give you a better defect removal result in most cases than a single step, even if you're trying to use this with a fiber pad to give it more cut. And like Stevie mentioned, there are surfaces where if you're using this with a fiber pad as your final step or your only step, you may cause some haze or light marring in that finish, which may not be ideal depending on what your end goal is. So I usually say, if you're going for perfection or as good as you can get it, and you have moderate to severe defects, a 2-step process is going to be the best for you. If you're in a situation where you're not necessarily worried about it being perfect or as absolutely as good as you can get it, then that's a situation where you would still get awesome results and benefits from ceramic all-in-one on its own, and then pick the pad based on your finish and how far you think you need to go. But always do a test section first. That'll give you a good guideline of what that paint really needs, and you can adjust your process from there. Yep. I will say that there isn't a difference in durability or protection from a moderate pad or a light pad up to a more aggressive pad. You're going to get the same level of protection whether you apply this with a microfiber pad or a yellow or orange foam pad. That being because the abrasives and the pad are what's doing the defect removal, and then the protection package in here that's being left on the surface and then wiped off is what is doing the protecting. So all-in-ones, you'll get less durable protection from this than you would from a straight protection like our ceramic liquid wax because of that abrasive component in there. So that it does kind of fight the protection aspect, but you're not going to reduce the protection by using a more aggressive pad.
That's a great answer, and that ties into the next question from James Bell. What is the difference between the ceramic all-in-one and the ceramic 3-in-1? So like Sam just touched on, there are differences in the durability of the protection that you'll get between an all-in-one type product and just a specific protection. So he was speaking to the ceramic liquid wax, but also the ceramic 3-in-1, like James is asking about. You are going to get more durable protection from those two because they don't have that abrasive particle in there. But other than that, the main difference between the all-in-one and the 3-in-1 is that the all-in-one is a polish and protectant, whereas the 3-in-1 is a sprayable wax, just a protectant, no polishing capabilities.
Yep. Mihoff Motorsports asked, what do you suggest to protect single stage? We didn't talk about single stage a lot during the live, so it's a great question. Again, it's not a completely straight answer because it's going to depend on the condition of the single stage and what that car is used for. I would say in situations where it's a single stage vehicle that's being daily driven or stored outside, I would tend to opt for ceramic 3-in-1 wax. If it's more of a show vehicle or a weekend driver that you want to keep really nice, especially if it's a deeper or darker color, Carnauba wax is a great option. If the single stage is in good shape and it's not like super oxidized or what I've called thirsty in the past, where some single stage paint, when you apply a sprayable product to it, it will almost seem to absorb it, if you will, which can make application finicky and difficult. For those situations, I would err on the Carnauba side. Premium Carnauba paste is great on single stage paint, but I've also used ceramic 3-in-1 wax on plenty of single stages that are in healthy condition, not overly oxidized and not having that thirsty or kind of sticky nature that you'll see with some single stage.
Yeah, so it all comes down again to that test section, really assessing the surface that you're specifically working on, because there is no one-size-fits-all answer. It really does come down to.
Single stage is more susceptible to oxidation, UV damage, things like that. So if you can get away with it, if it's in decent shape, a more durable protectant like ceramic 3-in-1, especially if it's stored outside or driven regularly, will help serve you a little better in that it's going to provide more durable protection, help keep that single stage looking nicer for longer.
Yep. Ian Gregg had an interesting question. Do you need to protect after using synthetic clay like you would when using a regular clay bar? So I think it's really interesting to get into, you don't necessarily need to protect after you use a clay. It depends on how you're using it and when you're using it. So ideally you will have protection on the surface, whether that's solely being applied after your decon step, or if you already have existing protection on there. The clay will abrade protection that's on the surface, so after a few clays, you may see that your wax has degraded noticeably. But it's not necessarily that if I have protection on a vehicle and I clay it with a synthetic clay, I have to re-protect after. Best case scenario, absolutely add additional protection, but it's not 100% necessary. With that being said, using something like ceramic speed shine with your synthetic clay is a perfect way to add protection while you're doing that decontamination step, so that you're killing both of those birds with one stone.
Let's see, Michael B asks, is it better to use synthetic wax applied by a random orbital versus ceramic 3-in-1 sprayed on? No, I would say the application method isn't really going to change the end result at all with a strict wax. That'll be different if you're using an all-in-one, because of course a machine is going to give you more defect removal than hand use will. But with really any of them, whether it be ceramic liquid wax, Polymers Carnauba paste, Best to Show liquid, those you're going to get the same end result whether you apply it by hand or with a machine. The benefit of machine application is it speeds up the process for you. It takes out some of the manual labor, so you can get the surface done quicker. But no real difference in durability or repellency from a hand application versus a machine application. Obviously, ceramic 3-in-1 wax you can't apply via machine because it is a liquid. It would sling everywhere if you tried to spray that on a pad and apply it to the car. So a little different for that one, in that you only have the hand application, or spray-on application method. But yeah, no difference there with hand versus machine.
Yep. Anytech, I think, asked, is there a wash soap that can be used for normal washes and also a stripping wash just by changing the concentration? No, we don't have anything like that. So you can use our foaming surface prep if you need to strip, but you'd want to use a pH balanced for your normal maintenance washes.
Yeah, it'd be very, very tough to get one product that could do both because of the different pHs and chemistries there. So Michael B asked, when's the best process and time to repair paint chips with proper touch-up paint and follow up with wax? Great question. I would say depends on what level of paint chip repair you're doing, but if you're just putting on touch-up paint and you're not going to do any sanding afterwards, polish the vehicle, do all your paint correction, then come in with surface prep cleanser, a panel wipe, clean all of the surfaces very well, and then apply your touch-up paint. Allow the touch-up paint to cure fully, and then put your protection on over the top. If you're going to be sanding down any of the touch-up paint areas to help blend them and make them a little less noticeable, that you would want to do. Let's say you'd want to clean and decontaminate the surface, strip it well with surface prep cleanser, apply your touch-up paint, sand those sections, then do your defect removal, strip it again, and then apply your protection. So a little different depending on what your process is, but you always want to apply touch-up paint to a completely stripped surface that does not have protection on it already. So doing that before you've applied new protection and after you've used a panel wipe like surface prep cleanser, and then protect that fresh touch-up paint once it's cured by putting your protection on afterwards.
Yep. Sound and Gloss had a great question. Will a spray wax extend my time between waxes? And yes, aside from the ceramic 3-in-1 wax, that is the primary benefit of the sprayable waxes that we were showing last night. So for example, ceramic speed shine, that's a perfect supplemental layer on top of your base coat of ceramic protection. And likewise, the Best to Show spray wax is the perfect supplemental layer on top of your Carnauba based protection. The sprayable waxes are a really easy way to reapply another essentially sacrificial layer on top of that base coat of wax to help extend that life and protect that base coat.
Yep. D. Garrett asked, I have S-Tech PPF on the front of my blue BMW 430iX convertible. Will your ceramic formula products such as ceramic liquid wax react with the PPF, such as causing issues with the adhesive or the film clarity? No. So all of our strict protectants, whether it be ceramic 3-in-1 wax, ceramic all-in-one wax, Best to Show liquid wax, premium Carnauba paste, you can't apply all of those over paint protection film without having to worry about it damaging the film underneath at all. With PPF, because of the variables and the age and oxidation of the film, things like that, we always recommend testing in an inconspicuous area before you go crazy on the whole PPF surface, just to really ensure that the user experience is going to be easy for you, that you're not going to have issues with wipe off or films or anything like that, residues. But I've never run into any issues applying any of our straight protectants to PPF. They all work well. If your PPF is matte or satin, the main product I would recommend would be ceramic 3-in-1 wax. It's going to be the least likely to add any gloss or change the appearance of that matte or satin surface.
Yep. C Squared asked, does it matter if I use foaming surface prep 10-to-1 as a pre-soak on dirty areas before foaming on ceramic 3-in-1 coated car if I'm reapplying ceramic wax after drying? I thought this was a really great question because, you know, a stripping wax being applied on top of a wax, but as you saw last night, that wax is super durable. So the long answer is that it's essentially going to pull some time off that total durability that you're going to get out of that base coat of ceramic 3-in-1. But as you saw last night, it's not going to completely strip it. So while it will shorten the durability and the lifespan, you already said that you're going to apply another ceramic application after that. That's perfect. Just know that you may not get the full durability that you would have originally gotten from that ceramic you didn't say 3-in-1 specifically, but from that base coat, if you hadn't used a stronger wash like foaming surface prep, but it's not going to kill it by any means. You're still going to get a decent durability from that wax. The more times you use the foaming surface prep, you definitely are going to start kind of cutting time off that protection. But
next question, Del Wiggins. I recognize that name. I think you're a local customer.
I think so.
If I remember correctly. But Dell asked, what's the difference between surface prep cleanser and paint prep? Oh, the old paint prep. So that shows you've been with us for a while, Dell.
I was going to say, what's paint prep?
Yeah, some of you may not have heard of paint prep before. It was an old product that we used to sell that was essentially the same purpose, just didn't work quite as quickly or quite as well as surface prep cleanser. So surface prep cleanser has effectively taken the place of paint prep. So similar purpose in that it's stripping oils, silicones, old waxes, things like that off of the surface, preparing it for new protection. But yeah, they essentially fulfill the same function. Surface prep cleanser has replaced paint prep in our line, and in my opinion is a much easier, faster, more effective product to use. So if you still have some paint prep left over, don't throw it out. Still good for lots of different tasks, but you may pick up a bottle of surface prep cleanser and experience how well that works. Probably the biggest difference is it's much faster. It flashes off the surface faster, so it's much quicker and easier to use.
Yep. John German asked, I have a large bottle of Speed Shine. Would you recommend upgrading from Speed Shine to ceramic Speed Shine? I would say in most cases, yes, but there are still times where Speed Shine is a better option, especially, for example, if you don't have protection on the surface or you're stripping protection to reapply. If you only have ceramic Speed Shine in the garage, then you're definitely going to be essentially fighting yourself in that you're applying protection while you're decontaminating and then coming back and trying to remove that before you apply your base coat. But overall, as a maintenance, I would say yes. If you're looking for that ceramic protection, it is a phenomenal product.
Yeah, I'd say the only other spot that you would still want to use speed shine is if you like wiping down your car really frequently. Say it's a nice vehicle that you like to keep perfectly clean, and you're one of our customers that will do a quick detail wipe down on it every time you drive it, or multiple times a week. In that kind of case, you're going to be better served to stick with speed shine. Ceramic speed shine, when used too frequently, this is really true with ceramic speed shine and ceramic 3-in-1 wax, you can build a residue, essentially, a filminess that will start to move around on you as you're wiping across the surface, and you won't be near as likely to get that with speed shine. It can really be true from any detail spray that has more protection benefit to it. You don't want to use those more than like once a week, I would say, as a general rule of thumb. So if you're wiping out the car really often, keep using your speed shine. But like Stevie said, if you want to get more protective benefit out of those wipe downs and you're not doing them super frequently, ceramic speed shine will give you a little more value for your time.
Red Dawn asked, is it safe to use ceramic liquid wax on wheels? If not, what do you recommend for wheel protection? Is it safe? Yes, absolutely. But I find that my preference is ceramic 3-in-1, especially as a rinsing aid or drying aid, and maintaining that frequently during your regular wheel cleanings. The reason for that is it's much easier to apply as opposed to having to apply and wipe off in the case of ceramic liquid wax, protectant to all faces of the wheel, especially if you have intricate wheels.
Yeah.
If your wheels aren't that intricate, you very well could get more lifespan out of the ceramic liquid wax, and that may be a better use of your time. But I'd say in general, mini wheels are a little more intricate or just kind of annoying to get all the surfaces of, so I'd stick with ceramic 3-in-1.
Yeah, I mean, like, you look at the Panamera wheels behind us, those, you'd probably be in like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes a wheel between application and wipe off with ceramic liquid wax, whereas with ceramic 3-in-1 wax, you're going to be a couple minutes a wheel. So much faster application for a wheel surface, like Stevie said. Let's see. Alex Poe asked, can or should you use foaming polygloss over the top of ceramic 3-in-1 wax as part of a maintenance wash, or do you lose the benefit of the ceramic with the polygloss on top? You can use polygloss over ceramic during a maintenance wash. However, it is best to serve your base with light chemistry. So if you have a ceramic 3-in-1 base, serving that with ceramic speed shine or ceramic wash and coat to help top it would be the best case scenario. You're not gonna necessarily hurt your base by putting polygloss over it, but whatever's on top, your beading and repellency characteristics are going to tend to take on whatever's on the top. So you might notice that after you apply polygloss, that the product's usually a little less hydrophobic than ceramic 3-in-1. So you may lose some of that explosive hydrophobicity that you're used to seeing from your 3-in-1 base if you put polygloss over the top. Whereas if you use ceramic speed shine, say as a drying aid or rinse aid, or ceramic wash and coat, those are going to serve that base a little better. And you can actually use ceramic wash and coat in the same exact way you would use polygloss. It's one of my favorite ways to do it. I'll usually wash, I almost always have some sort of ceramic on my vehicles, so I'll wash them with foaming surface wash and the Boss Foam Cannon. And then once I've got the vehicle washed, it's rinsed but it's still wet, I'll mix up some ceramic wash and coat in my Cannon, remove the metering tip, and then foam that on half the car at a time. Foam it on, let it sit for a minute or two, rinse it right back off just like you would polygloss.
Yep.
So that's a good way to get the best of both worlds, not have to change your process, just swap out the product that you're using.
Yep. Kind of tying into that, David Holtman asked, you talked about layering. Can you apply a Carnauba over a ceramic and get the best of both? Again, with layering, you're getting the benefit or the durability of the base coat, and then you're seeing the properties of the top coat. So if you're trying to get that explosive hydrophobicity and self-cleaning capabilities of that ceramic, again, you don't want to put anything on top of that. Putting the best of show on top will help amplify that color depth and clarity, but it's going to hinder those explosive hydrophobic effects that you would get from the ceramic. So again, yes, there is some benefit, but you really need to measure out like what you're looking to get out of your wax and take that into account.
Yep. C Squared asked, doesn't matter if I use foaming surface prep diluted at 10 to 1.
I already answered that, sorry.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I think we got all the ones on the
All
front
right,
page.
all right. I thought I was doing a better job keeping track of the ones you answered, but
It's all good.
apparently not.
You are doing a better job. Red Dawn asked, what pressure washer setup are you using? We are using our Pro 1900 PSI pressure washer, and it's actually mounted to the wall, which is super convenient. We do sell the wall mount as well, if that's an option that you're interested in. And then our Boss pressure washer nozzles.
And Boss pressure washer gun.
Yep.
And our 50-foot Pro pressure washer hose.
Yep.
So it's a pretty great setup. The 1900 PSI Pro AR unit that we sell is pretty optimal output, PSI and GPM for detailing needs. It's a very, very effective and quick setup to use, especially wall mounted, like Stevie said. So we were very lucky to have our wash bay. I often think of the days of old when we used to wash outside in the cold temperatures.
Don't get
in the
nostalgic.
middle of winter.
I think about those days
Got to
often.
keep things in perspective, right? Very, very grateful for the wash bay.
Yeah.
Very, very grateful.
Jay Maynard asked a really interesting question. What's the shelf life of Carnauba? I think I still have a container from high school in my parents' garage.
Nice.
Now, I don't know how long ago you were in high school, but I'm picturing it's like a decade old plus. So it's really funny. I can't say that there's 100% going to be a right or wrong answer of whether that wax is still good. I would suggest that you test it in a small inconspicuous area and just kind of see kind of how it's curing, how it's setting up, and then also how wipe off is and how the appearance is after. But there's a pretty good chance that it's no longer bueno.
It very likely might still be good, especially if it's a paste, but the ease of application and removal probably isn't good compared to more modern products. So, you know, if you're really attached to it, hey, no sense in, you know, not giving it another shot. But if you haven't used it in a while and you're looking for something that's going to be much better for you in terms of ease of application, as well as a much higher value in the time that you spend getting you a better result, longer lasting result, the more modern Carnaubas are definitely a lot better to use, a lot more durable, just overall better across the board than the old school products. So like our most recent formula, Best of Show Wax, will outlast our original Best of Show Wax formula like 4 to 1. It's not even close. So that, you know, gives you a little bit of an idea.
I'm terrified because Matt just grabbed a microphone.
Well, I feel like I have to jump in here because it was only a few years back that Stevie and I did a test with an old bottle of Best of Show liquid wax, comparing it to a new bottle, and that old bottle was older than Stevie was. And it did work. It was definitely different than the new one. The wipe off was a little bit more difficult, but it held up. I mean, it still worked as it should have.
Yeah, get out your hammer and chisel.
It wasn't quite that bad.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an exaggeration. No knocks on the OG Best of Show. It got us to where we are today. So, and like you said, Matt, still going to protect the surface, still going to give you a nice, warm, deep color depth and clarity.
In a pinch.
Just going to give you a little more of a workout in the process as well. Oh. All right. Did you answer the layering one already?
Which one? Yeah. Yes.
David Holden.
Layering.
What about Mr. Tom Collins? All right, Mr. Tom
Okay, you
Collins
got to double check if I've answered these already.
asked, can you apply the ceramic all-in-one by hand? I tried, but wasn't happy with the results. Seemed difficult. So yeah, you can apply it by hand, but the results are going to be much lesser than what you would get on a random orbital with application.
As far as defect removal.
Yeah. Application should still be easy by hand, application and removal, but you're not going to get near as much defect removal from it by hand. So one thing that I think a lot of people tend to forget with that product is you need to wipe it off every single panel. It's not like some of the more traditional waxes where you apply it to the whole car and then come back and start wiping off. If you did it that way, that may be why it was more difficult, because if you leave it on too long, it will get a little more stubborn to remove.
Yep. Damage Case asked, does Griot's have a wax stripper? We do. We actually have a couple options that you can use to remove your wax pretty effectively. The Surface Prep Cleanser, which we demoed last night, or the Foaming Surface Prep, which would be a foam on or spray on and rinse off type application. But both of those are going to do a really great job at degrading waxes fairly quickly. As you noted last night, depending on the freshness of the wax, so how much durability it still has, and then also the type of wax, you may need multiple applications still, but those are going to do a really great job at degrading that protection.
Any tech said, when letting 3-in-1 cure, does just being in the sun hinder that? No, not at all. The only thing that's going to hinder the cure of any of our ceramic products is moisture. So introducing moisture to the surface too early will prevent them from reaching full durability and lasting as long. That being said, it's not like you're cutting durability in half necessarily if you have to drive out in the rain after applying it. But you're going to lose a few months for sure, and you may notice that the explosive repellency falls off a little bit faster. So ideally, give yourself 12 to 24 hours of dry. It doesn't necessarily have to be indoors, as long as outside you're not getting exposed to a really high level of condensation, humidity, rain, any moisture. Don't wash the car, obviously, for 12 to 24 hours.
Don't put any other protections on top, or even just wipe it down with speed shine. Just avoid any moisture whatsoever. And that can also include if you're in like a really humid environment, say that it's really humid outside and maybe you have it in the garage, don't pull it out prematurely.
Let's see, Sound and Gloss asked, can a wax be layered onto a ceramic wax? I've generally been told no. You can layer on top of ceramic with the traditional wax, but again, ideally you want to layer with your base. So if you put ceramic as a base, it's best to layer a ceramic on top of that. Otherwise, you may notice that you're not getting the hydrophobicity or the repellency that you expect from that ceramic, because you've now given it the characteristics of whatever you put on top. So not going to hurt anything, but you will lose some of those benefits of the ceramic.
Yep. Alex Poe asked, any tricks for ceramic wash and coat in a foam cannon? The best trick that we can give you, work on a cool surface in a cooler environment, so out of direct sunlight, and do about a quarter of the vehicle at a time, foam on, wash, rinse off. That way you're definitely not allowing the product to dry on the surface. Where you start to get into some issues with ceramic wash and coat is if you're leaving it on the surface for too long and or allowing it to dry. So working in smaller sections, if you have to work in a hot environment, I'm pretty sure you guys use ceramic wash and coat in Alive out in the sun. I might be misremembering what product, but definitely pick up some tips if you have to use, or if you have to work in a hot environment from that Live. But overall, just not letting the product dry on the surface.
Yeah, I mean I've definitely done it, in heat a few times, but the hotter it is, the smaller the section. And then I would say, gosh, anything over like 80, 85, you're really kind of asking for trouble with that product, because if it begins to dry, it will leave spots behind. So, if it's real hot, wait until the cooler hours of the day, ideally, and then I've done as small as like a quarter section of the vehicle, so like a fender and a door, rinse, rear door and back, rinse, move around the other side, repeat, rinse. Because if it's beginning to dry on the surface, you will get spots. So it's a phenomenal product, great benefits when used correctly, but if you let it dry, you will see some spots.
Yep. Race Gas Smells Good. Cool username. Asked,
that's awesome.
What's longer lasting, 3-in-1 ceramic or ceramic liquid wax? Ceramic liquid wax, you're going to get a little bit more durability from. That one's going to last up to, I'd say, 18 months to maybe even 2 years, depending on how you're maintaining it, how the vehicle's stored and used, et cetera, et cetera. Ceramic 3-in-1, you're going to get about a year, maybe a year and a half, depending on how it's maintained.
Yep. Perfect answer. And yeah, the intermediate or the base that's used in both of those is very similar. Just one is a sprayable and one takes on a more traditional approach. But like Stevie said, ceramic liquid wax is going to be slightly more durable. I love that username as well. Race gas does smell very good. Man, I'm trying to find the ones that you haven't already answered. How should we wash the drying towel? So we talked yesterday, that was Mehoff Motorsports that asked that. Great question. We talked about that a little bit yesterday, specifically if you're using drying aids. Washing the dry towels especially, but any of our microfiber towels, microfiber and foam pad cleaner is highly recommended. You know, modern laundry detergents aren't designed to remove silicones, ceramics, waxes, all those things from a towel or a textile. So you really need more power than that, and that's what you get from microfiber and foam pad cleaners, designed specifically to help break down the protective ingredients that are in our products, to help remove them from your towels, to restore their original absorbency and keep them working well for a long time. I think our microfiber and foam pad cleaner video for like resetting your microfibers, 8 ounces of microfiber foam pad cleaner is going to help get you there a little bit faster than the recommended ratio on the back of that bottle. It is also compatible with HE, high efficiency washers and so on, so it won't mess up your washing machine or anything. Great way to get those towels clean and refreshed. And then make sure you don't if you're using a drying aid, don't hang up your towel to dry afterwards. Throw it directly in the laundry so that protective drying aid doesn't dry in the towel and rob the absorbency.
Yep, and that kind of ties into Bevan McCain's question. After using a towel and, say, ceramic speed shine as a drying aid, would you actually have to wash the towel or just rinse it out? You definitely want to wash the towel. Just rinsing it isn't going to remove the protection.
Yep. Yeah, and AnyTech, another microfiber question asked, any tricks for, or is there any special care for microfiber soaked with ceramic 3-in-1 or other ceramic products? I put it in a water bucket to keep it from curing before washing. That's a great way to do it. You could even throw some microfiber cleaner into that bucket and it'll kind of help, pre-clean, pre-treat the towels before you throw them in the wash. Yeah, that is a good call to help prevent any issues.
Yep. Jimbo Slice asked, I love Griot's glass sealant. What's the difference between that and the ceramic glass coating? And the main difference is the type of protection in those formulas and therefore the durability that you get from them. So the ceramic glass coating is going to last quite a bit longer than the traditional glass sealant. With the glass coating, you'll get up to 2 years on glass that's not abraded, so say your side and back windows, and then up to 1 year on, say, a windshield that has wiper abrasion. And again, that does depend on the conditions that it's enduring and how frequently you're using your wiper blades. Here in the Pacific Northwest, if you're going through fall and winter season, you might not get the full year out of that because you're abrading it so frequently.
Yep. R&B Garvey asked, where is foaming polygloss? We left it out intentionally. We didn't include any of the foaming. There was no foaming polygloss or no ceramic wash and coat. Since those are incorporated in the wash process, we wanted to focus on the other protectants that are more of true, more durable protectants. So same reason as to why you don't see spray on wax up here. Wanted to focus on the more durable stuff primarily. But love foaming polygloss, great product.
Yep. Brother854 asked, picking up a 3-year-old Lexus tomorrow, what's the best way to get a good foundation of paint protection? We have talked a few times about getting a new car, but I would definitely make sure that you wash and do a full thorough decontamination on that vehicle. Like we talked about last night, that's going to make sure that you're removing any contamination that could hinder the adherence of the wax that you apply or protection. And then picking the most durable protection, I would say, is going to be your best bet to get the most durable base layer that you could have. And so ceramic liquid wax is going to be a great option for that. Not only that, but it does have a nice kind of darkening and gloss enhancing finish to it. So I think you'll be pretty pleased with that. If you're looking for something a little bit quicker and maybe a little, I don't want to say easier because ceramic liquid wax is still easy to apply, but if you're looking for a more fast kind of get it done application, then the ceramic 3-in-1 is still going to be an amazing option.
Yep. Clifford Wirtz asks, I still have one of the original Griot's orbital polishers, and I see the new G8, G9 models are $50 off. Which one should I buy? G9 is going to be, the primary workhorse of those two. The G8 is, a supplemental smaller platform tool. So I'm guessing you probably have our original 6-inch. So replace that with the G9 would be the best trade-off there.
I would 100% agree. I think the only stipulation there is depending on what surface you're working on. If it's a really small, intricate car with a lot of like curves and bends in the panels, you might be happier with the G8. But overall, for most cases, I would agree 100% the G9. If you have a motorcycle though, that would be another instance where maybe you want the G8 so you can hit 2 effectively with 1 stone. But yeah.
Where are you polishing cars for ants?
I feel like there's a reference there.
Matt got it. Sobtronic said, any plans for a ceramic fabric protector? Looking for a long-lasting protectant for my canvas convertible top. Nothing in the works currently, but we are always looking to launch new and exciting products, so we will keep that one in mind for the future.
Yep. Anytech asked, does the 3-in-1 ceramic water beading break down a little after a few weeks after applying? I would say no, it shouldn't be at least. The only thing that could impact that and cause the water beading to seem like it's not quite as good as it once was is if there's any dirt or contamination that's built up on the surface. So obviously depending on when the last time you washed the vehicle is, the conditions that it's enduring, maybe it's picking up pollen depending on the time of year and area, et cetera, et cetera. So just making sure that the surface is fully clean. It should not impact. You shouldn't have any impact, I should say, on the water beading and hydrophobicity for a while. And I mean, I think our wash test last night kind of demonstrated that pretty well.
Yeah, for sure. It should hold up for a good long time for you. And if, into the 4th, 5th, 6th month after application, you start seeing that water beading dying down a little bit, you definitely still have protection there. It's just not going to be that same explosive repellency. A great way to refresh that, ceramic speed shine on top. Is going to help bring that repellency back in a quick order. Let's see, what's the proper procedure for reapplication of ceramic 3-in-1 wax after about 6 months of weekly use of ceramic speed shine? Man, if you're using ceramic speed shine weekly for 6 months, you could probably go another 6 months before you need to apply ceramic 3-in-1 wax. If you want to reapply it now, what I would recommend is thoroughly decontaminate the surface, make a call whether or not you want to do defect removal. If you do your defect removal, then surface prep cleanser, then ceramic 3-in-1 back down. If you don't want to do defect removal or you don't need to, I'd probably decontaminate with standard paint cleaning clay. It's going to be less likely to mar the finish. And then surface prep cleanser, and then ceramic 3-in-1 wax.
Very nice. Sound and Gloss asked, if possible, please talk about how to put on one of your paste waxes with a G8 or G9. My arms are just too old to wax an SUV. It's fairly easy. You would want to use a red foam waxing pad in the appropriate size. And then with the paste wax specifically, it comes in this tin that doesn't quite fit the 6-inch pads. So if you are using a 6-inch or a larger pad, even the 5-inch, it might be a little easier to use an old debit card or maybe a plastic knife or some sort of applicator to apply it. Otherwise, with the 3-inch, you can just kind of wiggle it against the pad to apply some and then go on to applying. As far as speed, you want to keep it on about speed 2 to 3 is ideal. You could potentially go up to 4, but you really don't need to. And really what you're trying to do is just apply an even application of that wax. So just about 2 passes just to make sure you cover all of the surface evenly is great. I know Sam's dying to show you.
I'm just sniffing wax over here.
I will say I forgot how strong and lovely the scent in that is. It's not overpowering, but as I was setting up the test panel for the live, I was like, oh my gosh, why do I use anything else? This smells heavenly.
Brings back memories because I used to use this stuff almost every detail that I did when I was first starting out, and yeah, it smells great. We had somebody in here that asked who likes the smell of old Carnauba wax. Me.
Yeah.
This definitely has some of that old smell. Yeah, Matt's raising his hand behind the camera too. But another tip for if you're using a large pad and a can of premium paste, when I used to do it a lot, I would leave my pad on the orbital and just smash the sides into the tin, and do that around all 4 sides of the pad, and that'll give you pretty complete coverage. Or you can pull the pad off the machine and fold it in half and apply it in the tin that way as well. So a few different options. But yeah, the credit card or plastic spatula also works very well.
Yep. I feel like that, like when the wax is fairly full, that's an awesome way to apply. But
For
as
sure,
as it
yeah.
kind of dips down, it gets a little
For
trickier.
For sure. Great point, Stevie.
Greg Goldman asked, do you need to use special soap or shampoo when washing a car with ceramic liquid wax? Yes and no. You want to make sure that it's something pH balanced if you're not trying to remove or degrade that coating. But as long as it's pH balanced, you're going to be fine and you're going to get great lifespan out of that wax. If you want to add additional protection, obviously you can use washes like our ceramic wash and coat or something that adds and enhances that protection. But as far as a special wash, there's no one specific wash that you should be using. You just want to keep in mind those characteristics.
Yep. Did you answer Terry's SC430?
No, I think that's the
Okay.
last one on that page.
Terry's SC430 asks, I have a newer car that I had the dealer ceramic coating added to. Should I continue to use ceramic products or stay away from them for a while? So the dealer ceramic coatings, there's a wide range of durability and performance out there and what the dealers are applying. Some of them are not using very good products. So depending on where you had that product installed at, I can't say exactly what you got, but personally I would keep using them because you're gonna add life to what they applied. Usually those dealer applied coatings are not cheap. So adding life to that, keeping it bolstered is going to help maximize your value from the money you spent on that coating. So I would go ahead and keep on using them.
Yep. Michael Cox asked, I had my car protected with G-Technic coating a few months ago. I believe this is ceramic coating they suggest not using a car wash to clean. I was wondering what you would suggest to wash it. As long as you're sticking with a pH balanced wash, you're going to be perfectly fine. Where it gets a little muddy is if you purchase a maintenance package or a warranty on that coating. They might not be happy to know that you're using other products and it might technically void the warranty, so bear that in mind. But it's not going to harm the protection that's on the surface to use a standard car wash.
Yeah, they might mean like don't go through a car wash, like a car wash tunnel, because brushed car wash tunnels, really any type of tunnel, whether it's touchless or brushed, gonna hammer your coating and shorten the life if you're doing that repeatedly. So in my experience, I'm pretty familiar with G-Tech products, and I've seen that recommendation, but I have not seen them recommend against using a good pH balanced car wash soap to hand wash the surface.
Yeah.
So it might be a delineation between hand washing versus a car wash tunnel.
Or they might be trying to sucker you into bringing your car in every week to have it washed.
Yeah, for sure, depending on where you had it done. But yeah, no car wash tunnels really for any reason, but definitely if you have a coating on the vehicle. What's the typical longevity of Best of Show wax and ceramic liquid wax on a car that is washed bi-weekly? Bi-weekly, is that?
Every other.
Every other week, okay. I was like thinking twice a week, like man, that's a lot of washing. So every other week, yeah, that's pretty standard issue. I would say Best of Show, you're gonna get around 6 months. Ceramic liquid wax, you're gonna get around a year plus, as long as you're using a good pH balanced car wash soap. So of course, those are very approximate assumptions. Depends on the environment you're in, what the car is exposed to and so on as well.
Cameron Huntsucker asked, I've noticed that the ceramic products don't follow the label color to correlate to pads. Am I missing something? No, you're not. You're correct that there is no colored band. That is mainly for our Boss creams and the Boss line.
Exclusive to the Boss system.
Yeah.
Enthusiasts ask, can y'all talk about y'all's shirts?
Yeah, Nick was wearing a brand new shirt last night, I believe.
Yep, hasn't even dropped yet. So yeah, we're doing a collaboration with Group 6, who is a graphic designer, and they sell all kinds of different automotive-related apparel and stickers. We're doing a cool program with them where we're doing limited editions. So the collector series is what we're calling it. We're doing one shirt, one new design every month, and then there's some other rotating designs in there as well that we're throwing in some of our more legacy designs from our Caffeine and Gasoline event. Jared at Group 6 has been coming out to our Caffeine and Gasoline events first Saturday every month for, I don't even know how many years now. It's been a while for sure.
Based on my closet and how many of these shirts I have, many years.
Yeah, and up until last month, those shirts were only available to customers that were local or who knew about Group 6. So now we're trying to open them up for all you guys. So keep an eye out for those emails and social posts. We should have a couple coming out next week for the next drop that's coming up. That's the Lamborghini design that Nick was wearing during the live this week.
Yep.
So another reason to make sure you're subscribed to our social or following us on all of our social media outlets, subscribe to YouTube, and signed up for our emails so you won't miss those t-shirt drops because they are limited runs.
Yep.
You're gonna have about 2 weeks to get an order in on those.
Randall Orr asked, which is more durable, Carnauba or ceramic wax? Overall, it's going to be ceramic, but it is also going to depend on which product you're referring to, because if you're referring to something like ceramic speed shine, that's not going to last as long as, say, Best of Show wax. But overarchingly, ceramic is going to be more durable than a Carnauba wax. Dirty Harry Auto Detail asked, regardless of the final coating, do you need to use surface prep cleanser after paint correction before applying your final product? It's not something that you absolutely must do 100% of the time, no matter what, but it's always going to ensure that you're getting the best adhesion and the full durability of the wax that you're applying. Is it always recommended? Yes. Do you have to? No.
Yes.
Yes on some on some protections.
I'm kidding. I've made it a requirement in all my process because from my experience, it saves you time, gets you max results, and there's really very little time spent in doing it. So it's a quick value add to all of your protection processes. And Dirty Harry, I know you're doing lots of detailing, so getting it down is gonna really just maximize your results, give you a better user experience, all of the above. See, if you've been using Carnauba wax for years, do you need to remove it somehow before making the move to a ceramic product? That was by Clifford Wirtz. Ideally, yes. If you have any old protection on the surface, it is best case to remove that completely before applying a fresh protection, because if you don't, you're going to drastically shorten the life of whatever you're putting on top of it. So a few different ways to do it, depending on how durable that protection is that's left on there. Like we showed you last night, you can clay the surface and then surface prep cleanser, and if the protection's pretty weak, that will likely remove it. If it's a little more durable, you may want to wash it with a product like foaming surface prep, an alkaline wash, or if it's really durable, polish it, decon, polish, surface prep cleanser, then apply your new protection. But I'd say, if it's been a while since you've put that old Carnauba on there, you'd probably be okay with a decon and surface prep cleanser to remove it before you put on your fresh protection.
Yep. Steve Kunder asked, new car, daily driver, garage kept, what route do you recommend? I would go with a ceramic protection, ideally ceramic liquid wax, but ceramic 3-in-1 would be fine too. Because it is a daily driver, the less maintenance, the better, and the more durable the protection, the better. So I would say getting an ultra durable protection on there and then using your normal wash routine to maybe feed that base coat with ceramic speed shine, for example. That's gonna be the best, and especially the ceramic protection is gonna help keep your vehicle a little bit cleaner longer because of those self-cleaning properties that it has. So that's gonna be best case scenario.
For sure. Arnold Menchaca asks, what do you recommend for the graphics, particularly on a Ford Raptor hood? Great question. Graphics can be tricky. In my experience, ceramic 3-in-1 is one of my favorites to use on graphics, whether they be matte, satin, or gloss. You can clean them with surface prep cleanser prior. I'll usually spray that directly onto a towel when I'm working on vinyl, just to ensure I don't spot any vinyl that might be a little bit oxidized, and then apply your ceramic 3-in-1 to that.
Yeah, and the best part about that, is that you don't have to worry about wax buildup in the edges of those decals. I always say it wrong and then I overthink it.
No,
and
it's
I say
okay.
It wrong
The
still.
potato. If I recall correctly, we have a viewer that particularly likes decals. So
You just got to put random accents on different parts of words, keep people on their toes.
to each their own. Say it how you want to say it.
It's the Centralia accent in me. ASDF asked, is your silicone-free detailer a good option for a drying aid on a ceramic-coated vehicle to enjoy the properties of the base ceramic coating while providing lubrication during the drying step? You've got it, 100% down. That would be a good use for that product because it's not adding anything on top that's potentially inhibiting those characteristics.
Team Ramey asked, with the popularity of ceramic coatings in many types of applications, what's the rule of thumb of avoiding applying too much product? I would say with most ceramics, less is more. Typically, they're going to go a little further, and because of the rich protection, if you apply too much, you may get some difficulty with streaks and filminess. So I would err on the side of less is more. And then you can always add more. It's harder to go backwards if you've already put on too much. So yeah, the little bit goes a pretty long way with all of our ceramic products. Like 3-in-1 wax, for example. When I'm doing a full car with this, I'll normally miss 2 to 3 sprays per panel at the most. I'm not like dousing that panel. You don't need a ton of it.
I'm going to hit 2 questions at once here. Angel Medina asked, which works best for superior cleaning and slickness? And Retirement Adventures asked, what's the best combo for protection against water spots if the car is dark and in the elements for a month at a time without washing? I would say in both of those cases, it's going to be a ceramic protectant. The ceramic has that extreme hydrophobicity that's going to help repel water and therefore prevent water spotting as much as possible. Obviously, if there's pollen and it rains, it may not be a 100% foolproof solution, but it is going to give you the best chance at avoiding those. And then obviously with the cleaning and the slickness that we just talked about, obviously ceramic is going to be the best option for that.
Yep. This is a good one. We're going to end it with this one and then announce our giveaway winner since we are quickly running out of time. But Trevor Tarbox asked, how long should I wait to add protection on a newly painted bumper? Did you answer that one yet?
No.
Okay. We didn't cover that at all during the live, and that is an important part of protection application. Typically, fresh paint is going to recommend 90 days plus before you apply protection, durable protection over the top of it to allow the paint to off-gas so that you don't get any solvent pop in that surface from applying protection too early. My main recommendation to everyone is call the body shop or painter that painted the vehicle because that time window will vary depending on whether they baked the paint to cure it or allowed it to cure on its own. Lots of different intricacies there, the type of clear they use, things like that. So call your painter or the body shop and ask them what they recommend, the time duration that they recommend to wait before you apply durable protection. But 100%. Typically it's at least 90 days.
Yeah, I would say if you're not sure and for whatever reason you don't have a way to verify, maybe it's a car that you purchased that was repainted recently, definitely just give it the 90 days just to be safe. But like Sam said, there's a lot of variance, so checking with the painter is the best foot forward.
All right.
All right, our winner.
Giveaway winner today is Sound and Gloss. Sound and Gloss. I haven't seen you on too many of these, so welcome if you're new. If not, we appreciate the support. And you asked some great questions. So based on your questions, I'm assuming you're more of a traditional Carnauba guy. So we have that premium Carnauba paste wax kit for you if that's the one you want. Email us at winners@griotsgarage.com with your mailing address and which of those 2 kits you prefer, and we'll get you all set up. So great job, Sound and Gloss. Thank you for your excellent questions. You guys are all great, as always. You ask great questions, tons of engagement. We vastly appreciate it. Don't forget that discount code for the up to $50 off orbital sale, SM Polish. That's SM Polish. And yeah, I think that's about it. Make sure you're signed up for our emails and following us on Facebook and Instagram so you don't miss the upcoming t-shirt drops. You can get some of the sweet shirts that we're wearing during all of our live events. And it's about time to go have fun in our garage. So you guys have fun in your garage. We'll see you next time.